I know many of you living in New York, London, or Sydney rely on the subway every single day. But have you ever stood on a deserted platform at 3 a.m. and felt a sudden freezing draft coming from the dark tunnel, even though no train was scheduled? I received an email recently from a former MTA worker, someone who spent over 20 years in the tunnels under Manhattan, and what he told me was disturbing. He claims there's something down there, something that never left. They call it the Tunnel Man. According to him, it's been haunting the deep levels since a construction accident in the late 80s, when an entire section collapsed and workers were never recovered. If you work late or take the subway at night, listen carefully. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Most people don't realize how deep those tunnels really go, or how many forgotten sections exist beneath the ones we use every day. Buried, sealed, and abandoned. Before we get into the details of the 3 a.m. Tunnel Man, make sure to subscribe for more real and fictional horror stories like this. This story follows a man named James, a junior analyst in Manhattan. It was a Tuesday in November 2018. James had stayed late to finish a report, and by the time he reached the 191st Street station, one of the deepest stations in the city, it was nearly 2:45 a.m. The station was completely silent. No performers, no commuters, just the low hum of fluorescent lights and the echo of empty space. He sat down on a bench, scrolling through his phone, but something felt off. There was a smell, heavy, suffocating, like ozone mixed with wet rot. He checked the time, 2:55 a.m., and that's when the temperature dropped, fast. So fast he could see his own breath. Then came the feeling, that instinct you can't ignore, like someone was watching him from the dark. James stood up, scanning the platform. He walked to the transit booth. Empty. Chair pushed back. Coffee still sitting there, like someone had just left. Then he heard it. Not a train, not footsteps. Clink, clink, clink. Metal striking rail. Slow, rhythmic, coming from deep inside the tunnel. He stepped closer to the edge and looked into the darkness. At first, nothing. Then, a light. Faint, flickering, about 50 yards in. It wasn't a train, it was a lantern, and someone was holding it. A figure stood on the tracks, wearing what looked like an old construction vest, not moving, just standing there. James called out, "Hey, is the one train still running?" The figure stopped. Then, slowly, it turned its head. James said his heart nearly stopped. There were no eyes, just deep, hollow pits, and the skin, it looked burned, charred like it had been hit with high-voltage electricity. The figure didn't answer. It raised one arm and pointed directly at him. Then, it moved, too fast, gliding through the tunnel, closing the distance in seconds. James stumbled back and tripped over his bag, papers scattered across the platform. By the time he got up, it was already there, at the edge of the platform, pulling itself up. He could hear it breathing, a wet, broken, wheezing sound, like something inside it wasn't supposed to be moving. It reached towards him, its hand ice cold, and then it spoke. "Shift's not over. Get back to work." At that exact moment, a train roared into the station. The wind hit like a wall, and the thing was pushed back, dragged into the darkness, gone. James didn't wait. The doors opened, and he threw himself inside. As the train pulled away, he looked back through the window, and there it was, standing on the platform, watching him. But it wasn't alone. Behind it, dozens of figures, all standing still, all facing him, waiting for the next person. James never took that line again, but he needed answers, so he started digging. Old reports, archived articles, transit records, and that's when he found it. A report from 1987, a tunnel collapse, workers trapped underground, bodies never recovered. The city sealed the section, declared it too dangerous, and built new tracks right over it. There are layers beneath this city, old tunnels, forgotten spaces, and some of them aren't empty. Some say those workers are still down there, still standing, still waiting, and one of them never stopped working. So the next time you're alone on a deep platform late at night and you smell something rotting or hear metal striking the rails, don't look into the tunnel, just walk away. What's the creepiest thing you've ever seen on public transport? Was it a person or something you couldn't explain? Tell me in the comments.